Good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe! Hello and welcome today. Today you're joined by me, Daniel. And we are doing page 11 as you can see. So this is a new page. You haven't seen any paintings for the last like 2 weeks I think. I did the sketchbook tour kind of a thing where I share my monthly sketches from my sketchbook, and then I had my just a drawing the beer. I was drawing beers for a little bit, and yeah, just discussing a few things here and there. So that was lots of fun. And this week, yeah, we're back to streaming pages again. For another couple of weeks until the end of the month. We don't do another monthly sketches, but we'll see how things go. But yeah, I wanted to kind of discuss a few things here and there. First of all, like, Happy Easter to everyone. It's that time of year again. Unfortunately, we can't exactly celebrate it the way we want to this year. Definitely here in New Zealand. Some countries, I don't know if they're different or not, we are in a pandemic now. Yeah, and I'm drawing through the pandemic. At the moment, I'm an essential worker, so I have to go to work still, and yeah, maintain my 9 to 5 job, and then come home and do my illustration stuff and all my YouTube videos and all the other things that I do. I still have to kind of maintain that. I still have to do groceries and things like that. But yeah, it has been a changing time, for the last, I think, 2 weeks. We can't just go to the grocery store and then get what we want and kind of walk out and anything like that anymore. And we can't go to places like McDonald's or those all closed, or go get some shoes from the warehouse or wherever. Those kind of things are closed. We are told to stay home as much as we can, and things like that. I mean, some parts of the world are urging you to stay home regardless of anything, like what they're doing in America. So yeah, this is my first ever pandemic I've lived through. I don't think most of you, if you're listening to this, I don't think any of you would have lived through a pandemic per se. Definitely not to this scale, because there has been other kind of like MERS and SARS kind of a things I've heard about, but they weren't as big as this. This is world spread. Here in New Zealand, we definitely got a kind of, it's definitely less affected, I guess. It's, the government was really good at what they have done, putting us in lockdown, and we are doing quite well here, compared to some other countries and things. We've had only two deaths as of today, apparently, from it. And yeah, it's been interesting to live through. I mean, I think on the first couple of days when we started to go into this lockdown kind of a thing, I was having the time off, so I had some time off work those 3 days. They built up alert systems, and on the about the 28th, I think it was, we had our first case here in New Zealand, and then a little bit progressed from there. I think we got to about 30 cases, I think, around about that, 30 cases in New Zealand, which isn't a very big number, but if you size of how kind of small compared to other countries are, New Zealand is, it's actually a relatively kind of big number, for us Kiwis in a way. I mean, we want to keep it as low as possible, obviously. But as soon as it got to 30, we were kind of put into level 1. Or level 2, sorry. Level 1 was kind of, yeah, the first like 10 cases were level 1. It basically just means, keep washing your hands, keep safe, still, try and stay at home if you can, avoid, as much contact, if you're going overseas and things like that. If you come back, you have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks, those kind of things. Then we put on a level 2, which is a little bit higher than that, and then it all went when we got like 50 cases or something, 60 or somewhere around there, a little bit higher, a little bit more cases. Then it was like put us in complete lockdown after that. So it was good decision that the government did do that. Jacinda Ardern, can't fully say her name, but she put us into full quarantine by that stage. And yeah, we've been living that for the last 2 weeks under quarantine. There are some differences for me. It's kind of good that I'm working at the moment because I don't, there's no kind of loss of income for me and my family. But there are, a lot of business going out at the moment. Some might even go under, unfortunately, due to this. They won't be able to survive the month. But for me, everything's all good in that kind of aspect of things. And I'll go back in a little bit into my art. So yeah, I've still been keeping up painting as I do every week. A little bit of difference, I would say groceries is a little bit different. It's not too much though, it's still, with my routine, my weekly kind of routine. I go 1 day a week, whatever. So it's kind of the same in a way. I'm still going out once to do that a week, so it's still kind of the same routine. I'd say it might take me a little bit more time to do it, I guess. Maybe half an hour more, to do all the groceries. But yeah, it hasn't really changed my schedule too much. I mean, with those 3 days that I was home on my own, well, not home on my own, I had my family here, home away from work, I painted and everything. The only difference is, my daughter wasn't in daycare, so I couldn't fully do kind of as much as I wanted to in a way, but I still got to get things done as much as I could get done and spend time with my family and do those things. So it was good to have those days off and just relax and get some painting and stuff done. I got a fair bit done though, because I'm about 2 weeks ahead of my YouTube schedule. So it means I've got 2 weeks of backed up content there, so that if something happens, like 1 week I can't do a video, or anything, I've got backed up video there. But I like to keep ahead so that I'm not so rushed. I can do things. I can take some risks as well, because sometimes, like what I've been doing, and like this painting here that I was doing, page 11. With this painting, I had to step back. There was his spikes that I was working on. I had to kind of start from scratch with that, because it was like when you keep painting it, it just gets worse, and it just breaks the whole thing. And it was like painting on top of soot in a way. It was painting on top of a bad image. So it wasn't working out. It was looking more like fur. Then if you can see a bit closer here, it looks a bit like fur, rather than spikes as much. So I was struggling with that, you might see me trying to paint it in a little bit of this video, and you see me maybe a little bit struggle with it. It definitely was a bit of a struggle, but what I did is I basically created a new file and then took a piece of his spike, and then duplicated it like quadruple times or whatever. I duplicated it at different times. I drew it in different angles too, so I had, you know, the left view and the right view and the middle view of the spikes, and just duplicated it and put them in all in the places they should be, and then placed it into this file and painted it in using that that kind of, I would guess it would be a placeholder kind of a thing that I'd place in there that would show me all the kind of the blueprints for it basically. So I just placed it in there and used it for blueprint to finish my painting off, and that's what I did to kind of fix this up. And if I was under a bit more pressure, you know, only had this Friday to get a video out, there would be two things I would consider doing. You know, if it was the start of the video, it'd be okay, but if it was in the middle, I kind of can't do one of them, which is, you know, do a filler stream, just me painting something. The other thing is cut corners, and that can be kind of a struggle sometimes, you know, trying to get it done. I do look at what I can do, whether it's, you know, wake up early in the morning to try and get some of this painting done, or stay up a little later to get the painting done, or something like that, or really try and keep painting as much as I can. As soon as I get home, trying to just do whatever I can to make sure that I can get this painting all done by that Thursday night that I need it for the stream. And that can cause issues like that, you know, me not being able to paint something right, being able to just take, you know, 10-15 minutes out, and slowly, you know, take your time creating this one thing or making this thing better, and then going back into your painting and, you know, fixing it all up from there. It does take a while with those kind of things sometimes, because you're working stuff out, you're trying to get it correct and right. Take some time to get correct and right, but it actually sometimes it's way better, you know. It doesn't take as long as you think sometimes, you know. It only takes half an hour or something to get something right that time, rather than spending like 3-4 hours trying to paint it and try to fix and experiment and play around and things like that to try and get it right when it's not going to work, you know. Just take the time out and just keep going. And it's, you know, if I'm in a hurry, I do less of that, you know, taking some time out and dealing with this issue at hand, and then, you know, because I'm more focused on trying to get this painting finished kind of a thing, so that's, you know, why I like to kind of stay 2 weeks ahead, especially, you know, with this content. I don't know what's going to happen at the moment. Hopefully moving forward it means, you know, things will dial back and things will slowly go back to normal, hopefully, but we'll see what happens. You know, but yeah, you know, it's also Easter. You know, with Easter, I think I'm not too sure what I'd be doing if we didn't have this pandemic at the moment. I possibly could be out somewhere, probably at this time of the year. I mean, quite a few Easters I have gone, like, to Wellington, with like my partner's family, and then spend time with them. My family as well. Sometimes I go visit them and things like that. Go see them. So those things I'm kind of not doing that this year. So that means, yeah, a little bit more time at home for this time of year this year, which, is kind of a good and a bad thing. I mean, the bad thing, I'm not going outside, just going and seeing family and just chillaxing and stuff like that. That's always good to do every now and again, just to get out of kind of this bubble. And kind of live a little life, and then come back to doing this illustrations, doing the work that I want to do. Um, because it can be that whole thing of like, kind of if you're doing it for a while and, you know, kind of get a little bit bored. But if you go away for a while and you really, really want to do it, you know, paint something or draw something, you really want to draw something for so long, say you go out to the market and you're there for like 4 or 5 hours or something, and you have that urge to kind of paint and draw, but you can't because you're at the fair outside. You don't have paper or pencils. By the time you come home, you actually want to get into it and draw and paint and everything like that. So it can be that kind of good thing to get out and then come back because you feel refreshed and you really want to keep drawing and keep painting. So it's always good to do that as well, you know. And now at the moment we're all stuck in our bubbles. um, yeah, so some people that's better than others. I mean, for me, I've got work, so I'm not with my family all the time. But yeah, we're all stuck here. Indoors, there's not too much we can do. We can go outdoors, go for walks and things. But yeah, we can't see other people and things like that. We can do lots of things, but digital things like calling people, which is good to do at the moment. It's good that I've got these artists that I chat to. It's always good to hear another voice. Someone I can really relate to as well. I've had a lot of people I can really relate to, and try and understand, how they got where they are, and try apply it to where I am today, and how I can get to their level and move forward, and also just get some encouragement as well. It's great to have these artists in there. I get some encouragement to keep going and keep painting. It's great to have. Yeah, and I've seen some interesting videos out there, um, art related and things like that. I think Bobby Chill did like a quarantine party. It was just painting in quarantine. He's been doing like 90-minute challenges at the moment, where he's just kind of getting audiences and himself painting for 90 minutes, which is awesome because you get other people from all aspects of art doing the challenge, and especially at this time, during this pandemic, you've got people that are stuck at home. Maybe they have tried art in their life, but they're stuck at home trying art. You've got people who are professionals. I'm not sure what's going on with like studios and things. Like Disney and all those studios that are maybe in-house, kind of not yet in-house. I'm not sure what's going on with those, if they're still running and things like that. Whether they're moving to home, if it's possible to do it at home, kind of a thing. It's probably more possible these days to do it at home. But I'm not sure, what that side of things is going on. It'd be interesting to know, but yeah, you've got lots of people and with lots of time at the moment. So it's a great time to, if you've got time, to up your level of art skills. Whether you're a professional or just an artist, um, a growing artist like myself. If it's a perfect time to level up, and gain those skills. Unfortunately, not much has changed for me. I'm still working. I've still got um, to do the full time 40 hours a week, working while doing this, so I don't get any more time than I would normally at the moment. So that's kind of the downturn of it. Um, the bonus is I still, can pay the rent. I don't have to worry about money at the moment, um, and things like that. So that's the positive um, about it. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely, if you've got the time, and I would really, if I was, I'd really appreciate the time myself. If I had um, some time, I would love to spend a lot more time, learning some more schoolism courses and things like that, um, to level up my skill a bit more. I do as much as I can. I'm always looking at what I can do now with what time I do have. Um, and it works out quite well. I mean, I've just introduced doing 30 minutes of drawing references each week. At the moment, I'm just drawing one reference and I'm drawing it like over and over again, kind of a thing. And every now and again, um, I've got some pictures that I've got in my book that I take to work to draw. I've got some pictures in there, so every now and again I draw from those, and those pretty much I've got some pictures of foxes, um, and I've got like a lizard. I think somewhere in my piles of paper, I've got some other pictures and things that I could take with me, if I need to. I don't have all the resources in the world, like printers and tablets and things like that I can take with me. Um, but it is what it is. I usually just draw when I'm at work. I just draw from my head. And yeah, if I have reference, I have it. If I don't, I don't. And that's it. But I do have reference there. So if I do draw 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever, with my reference, I count that as being 30 a bit of my 30 minutes a week, if needs be. I've definitely done more than 30 minutes this week for that. I've done my 30 minutes. It's Friday. I think last week I only did like 10 minutes by Friday, 10 or 15 minutes. The week before, I'm pretty sure I chewed through it. I think I introduced it last week actually. It was after watching a few things on YouTube. I was kind of in a position where I could do it now because I do have 2 weeks there backed up. I've got a bit going on. I do have to edit my book together. I do have to edit some of the text and things like that. I do have to keep up with this YouTube paintings and things like that. So I still have a bit going on, but I still manage to, add and chop and change some of the things that I do in my schedule, like that 30 minutes a week of reference drawing. It's 30 minutes. It's not exactly that hard to do. I mean, I could do 5 minutes each night. It doesn't really affect my schedule that much doing 5 minutes a night. So therefore, it's not exactly hard to keep up. It is um, rewarding, because I know that I can draw this reference, I can draw that, and I can learn from it as well. It can improve my drawing in the long run. So it's another way for me to improve the long term goals slowly, rather than just trying to achieve the goals that I'm trying to achieve at the moment. I'm slowly trying to look at the long term goals as well, and that's always important to look at your long term goals and improving your own, trying to get things right. Um, for me, I'd really love to be able to draw, characters, um, with, I mean, reference is fine, um, but without the need for kind of constantly searching for as much reference as I need. These days. These days, I don't actually need as much reference as is there. I think the reference is there, and I look at it, but I hardly kind of use it as much as I did back probably a year ago, 2 years ago. So that kind of thing is improving, but I just want to be at the next level. Definitely with characters. Characters is kind of the next level thing, like human anatomy and those things. Just yeah, want to get characters looking right. Those things. Creatures, getting better at backgrounds. It's another thing. I got suggested to do some environment art courses and stuff like that I got suggested to do, which I'm considering it in the future. I think I could do it soon with my 30 minutes of reference drawings. I could do backgrounds once I've kind of finished this character drawing process at the moment. I do backgrounds a little bit more as well. They're definitely, it is both important, because characters and backgrounds and environments are kind of equally important in what I do. Is illustration, creating children's books. They're equally important. Kind of unfortunate they have to know kind of both. You don't exactly have to, though. There are some children's books maybe more simpler than these ones that I'm creating, that don't show a lot of backgrounds or environments or anything like that. They show more characters. There are books out there that do and they do it well too. They show just kind of the characters. They may show a little bit of background, but not a lot, or very dull backgrounds. But they portray the story and they do it well. So yeah, but for me, I feel like the environment is definitely a key important part to telling a story, as well as a character. Sometimes the character is more important than the environment. Sometimes the environment's more important. They play a role in each other, and it's it's a yin and yang. They work with each other, and sometimes they're equally important. Like with this story, I feel they're equally important. You need to know that it is night time, that he is in a garden trying to get this kiwi fruit, trying to get past this cat, this scary looking cat. To get his kiwi fruit, you need to know kind of how far away he is from the fruit, ever so far or ever so close to getting his fruit. yeah, and those elements are important. You know, his home when he runs away to go home. You know, kind of in a way how far that is, or you know where that is. All those are key elements to the story that I'm creating. Um, and you can tell them throughout the story. I think you know those. I definitely did alright with that, I guess. You know, telling the story, I'm still you know keying it all together. I mean, this is page 11, so I've definitely come some way since kind of the start of this whole process. Not only in my you know illustration skills, but both you know um, my literature, um, and yeah, my storytelling skills. All those you know are slowly building up as I go, and it's has definitely built up a long way because I remember you know back in the um, back probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago, I would not think for a second that I would write a book or a story, um, because of the way you know my English is. I definitely um, I enjoyed it though. You know, I think when I was 14, I used to write these interesting kind of story kind of things, kind of personal. But yeah, I wrote these um, stories. I think maybe in 13 or something. We had creative writing and we had to write stories and things. And I had this story at the time. I showed my teacher, and she instantly thought of Lost, the show that was going on at that time. Um, so it's interesting, but yeah, from there I did get a little bit interested and did kind of write kind of stories based on some characters that I created. The King Cheetah character that I created, you might have seen a painting that I've done of it. Um, but his kind of story, a little bit of stories in my head, that I kind of wrote down and created. But definitely not to this level. I never thought I would actually create my own children's book to a professional standard per se, um, to this level basically. um, yeah, I definitely could see it coming, but although yeah, I could definitely see it coming because you know back when I was the age 14, I did kind of help and create my own children's book that wasn't that great, but I'm looking at after I finish this book and redoing that story because I still have the story in my head um, after all these years, and I still have you know the imagery that was kind of going on in this book is in there. You know, I've definitely drawn down some sketches, um, and yeah, you know, I think you know my sister created some of the characters. She was kind of good at that, to kind of doing interesting looking characters, which was quite cool to see. And I was really like taken by how she could just create awesome characters. I was better at doing, and always have been at doing, animals and creatures and those kind of things. It's what I love doing. That's what I'm passionate about. I really love animals and things, and dinosaurs and dragons, those kind of things. So I had a lot of experience drawing dragons and dinosaurs. Um, so kind of we mixed those two skills together in a way, and I think I learned a little bit on kind of technical drawing at that stage. Um, so I used some of that technical drawing as well. I was opposed from technical drawing for a long time, before I actually got into it a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, well, this has been, the two I've been, we're in this pandemic. It's for New Zealand, we've been in it kind of 3 weeks per se. Actually about a month since, about a month and a week since we've got our first case in New Zealand. So we're kind of, say, 2-3 weeks behind some countries. But yeah, we're in, our proper lockdown was 2 weeks ago. So at that stage, so hopefully, it will be lifted a little bit in a couple of weeks if we're lucky. If not, just a little bit longer. We'll see what happens. But for me, I'll be still keeping up my day job painting. I don't think I'll be having any time off till after it happens, so that I can get some full day into painting, possibly to do some stuff, to get some pages done, possibly, or just to work on some other things, because that happens sometimes, when I have time off, or some time that I do get to paint or something, extra time that I do get to paint. Sometimes I do some other things that may not be important for now, like but important for now, like doing the YouTube video recordings and stuff like that. I do other things, like, per se, edit my ArtStation portfolio, or edit some of the YouTube video things, or edit my book in total, all the pages, edit them all together, so it's looking good, and page numbers and everything like that. Do those kind of things, and thumbnails, and then all those kind of things in the background, that I do. I kind of choose some of those off, as well as keep up with those paintings. So I know, I can kind of keep up with the schedule, but those extra little bits and pieces can be a little bit more challenging to fit into the schedule. So if I do come up with a break, or some time, that extra time that I do get, like for instance this weekend I get 4 days off, then I'm going to use it to chew up some other things that I won't get to do in other times, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, it's been an interesting experience, being in my first pandemic and keeping drawing. I'm definitely, for me, I'm quite happy to keep drawing and keep creating and stuff like that. There might be a lot of people that out there, this isn't exactly as an essential kind of thing to do, but it's important because it keeps you happy. It keeps art and illustration, it keeps people happy, keeps stories being told and things like that. There are probably a bunch of books out there at the moment being created about this whole pandemic thing, washing your hand books, social distancing books, all sorts of those kind of things that will be popping up, I'd say, with this whole pandemic, that will, and probably books about viruses and stuff, like children's books about viruses and flus and colds and things like that. That will pop up a bit more now that we've experienced this. So yeah, I feel like it's you know, it's a really important, especially when there's so many people out there got nothing to do. They'll be watching Netflix and things like that. Um, so yeah, even if you're not into painting, not into creating illustrations or anything, um, there's other things you can do at home that may better you. You know, like for instance, cooking. You could get into a little bit of cooking and baking. Um, so use, you know, if you do have time during this pandemic, um, you know, you've got some extra time, find something you really enjoy, um, and find time to do that a little bit more. And even, you know, maybe when this whole thing's over, you could find ways to do that in your time schedule, you know, whether it's only a couple of hours a night or early in the morning or something like that. There's ways around it. So, hopefully everyone has a nice, safe, happy Easter. I mean, there's not a lot at the moment, especially here in New Zealand, that you can do, apart from stay at home and grocery shopping. But apart from that, it's not a lot of things. So hopefully everyone stays safe and happy. Don't binge watch too much Netflix. Um, and keep painting and keep creating. It is a challenging time, but we can all get through it, and there's so many other people out there that we can connect to and talk to now and illustrate with. So, keep drawing, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.